All right, so I guess let's. I'm like, it's been a while since we've done this.
It has, like, over a year.
Yeah. Hey, this is Amy with Creative Catapult Coaching,
And Megan with Focus Like a Mother.
and we're back for who knows how long of a run at season two with Control Alt Think Conversations with Neurodivergent Minds. I think that's what we called
Yeah,
it.
it's been a while.
It has been. It's been a hot minute, a few more than that,
Mhm.
even. Um, but yeah, I've been interested to kind of stick my foot back into the world of recording, and now I'm going to try to figure out where to look, and it's going to look super awkward because no matter what I do, I look incredibly dumb when I record the video. But you know what? Don't care. Here anyway.
Yeah, I'll just space out and look around. Do.
In some ways, that looks better though than like I'm like almost trying to look at the camera, but then it looks like anyway. I should just give up on it. But we were sort of intrigued by, well, this conversation. We've been talking about revisiting this for some time now. And today is holiday weekend, so we've got different pressures than sometimes. Lack of pressures. I don't know. Anyway, but I came across a slide yesterday and was having a conversation virtually with my mom about the fact that I often sigh, and then people ask me if I'm fine. And I'm like, yeah, but I've always known I hold my breath. I'm coming across, it was a reel, but talking about that it's related to interoception. And when we focus on something, some of us just kind of forget to breathe. And it sounds like stress, which it is, but stress from not breathing versus stress at whatever you're doing.
Yeah, the respiratory system catching up when the brain goes, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to breathe."
As I drive, I'm like, am I doing it now? I might be doing it now.
So the reel was from Speech Dude, who is a creator and also a speech therapist who works with autistic students, especially teenagers. Um, and so, Amy, I think you and I have both followed him for a while.
Apparently, we
Um,
have. I actually didn't realize that you were familiar with him. I'm not sure
mhm.
I've actually followed him, but he shows up as one of my. You should follow people. So occasionally I watch his reels because I haven't gotten around to hitting follow yet. Maybe now I should if we're gonna do this.
So yeah, it was a interesting reel of, why ADHD and autistic individuals, people with neurodivergence, sometimes the brain is so focused on something else that we end up holding our breath. And so, Amy, you were talking about how that shows up for you.
Yeah, and just that it really is related to interoception, the awareness of what's going on in your body. And humans are mammals, and um, but dolphins apparently are about the only other people that consciously or consciously control breathing patterns. Dolphins need to hold their breath. But my body just most of my life has decided to randomly hold my breath when I'm focused on something. And this is the first piece I think that I'd ever seen that actually called that out. And the fact that a speech therapist says that, he's seen it in other things, I was like, oh, oh, that's interesting. And because I've been thinking a lot about interoception lately, again, um, it was just related and going, oh, that's another signal of poor interoception potentially, is that, body losing connection to the diaphragm and signaling the need to breathe, but also then related to self regulation and how calm and how much in your body you can feel you are.
Yes. So, can you remind us all what interoception is for,
So
since it's been a while since
it
we've
has
been
been a
here.
while. And so we always hear about five senses. There are actually at least eight when you talk to most of the PTs, OTs, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and people dealing with systems going offline in the body. So you've got your five normal ones. You've also got vestibular, so your balance, what's going on in your ears. You've got interoception, the awareness of what's happening inside your body, and proprioception, where is your body in space? Another neat trick I learned lately is sometimes I can tell how good my proprioception is or how much of a safety body map I've got by can I, with my eyes closed, can I poke my fingers together in space? When your body knows where it is, it's much happier. Um, so
Yes.
interoception, when your body doesn't get the signals of what happens to it, it kind of doesn't like it, shockingly. Your body
Well, an
kind of doesn't feel safe.
interoception can go along with like people with high or low pain tolerance. Um, that's pain tolerance is tied to interoception. And just like the other senses, neurodivergent individuals can either be have their nervous systems seeking that input or avoiding it. And so, just like people who are more sensitive to light or sound, or less sensitive and seem to crave those types of input, it can be the same for especially proprioception and vestibular input. So it shows up in kids a lot when they really like to spin or swing or climb or crash kinds of things. Um, and for adults, you were talking about
Yeah,
the
that I
hands.
was doing this morning, trying to
So
give my
what
body
is this
just
though? You're pushing your hands
I'm
together.
pushing my hand together. I mean, it sort of looks like yoga prayer hands, which I mean is usually much softer and much more focused on breathing. I was pushing my hands while coffee was
You're putting
brewing.
force in.
That's
Yeah.
another story of
Yes.
failed habits and interoception. Not anyway. Things. I ended up with coffee all over the counter because things. And I
Things
didn't
happen.
notice it until after I did brew. But the interesting thing is, I've spent a couple days really working on regulating my nervous system and really being aware of what's going on in my body. And my typical reaction to seeing coffee all over the counter would be an unintentional, oh my God, just like a startle reaction. Didn't do that this morning. I just kind of looked at it and went, huh. So it was interesting that because I'm calmer, my body is more regulated. I didn't have as much of a outsized reaction to an legitimate error I made. I mean, it wasn't
Mhm.
intentional, but my kitchen is a disaster. I can't drink the coffee. It's not going to take me that long to clean it up, but it was just like, and some days that would be enough to send me into a set of tears because it just, you
Just
know,
too much.
too much. And logically, it doesn't look that way, but my internal reactions are so sometimes really big, sometimes really small, and I hide a lot of it, like a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, so it's like when I'm more out of tune with my body, I hold my breath more, or if I'm more focused, I hold my breath more. And it all seems to be interrelated and interesting to, share with some other people in my life that often if I do that sigh, it really means that I'm probably just really focused on something and I'm holding my breath. I'm not necessarily making some sort of subtle comment or judgment on them or the activity or being passive aggressive. Because I think that's so often it's perceived as a passive aggressive statement or subtlety on whatever's going on. And a lot of times it's really just the fact that, and it might be related to masking, but the fact that I've been focused really hard on doing a thing and my body has diverted all that energy from doing things like my body probably spends more energy monitoring my breathing because it's just not as automatic for me in a lot of cases.
Hmm.
And a lot of this is my own internal perception of how I'm functioning. If I were to take this to, an occupational therapist or, a medical professional, I don't know if they'd agree with my interpretation. This is just my making sense of my own body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but in the breathing interoception, it's interesting because I was just explaining to someone the other week, and I do this a lot with stress relief things, is that, breathing is one of the few things that our brain can control both consciously and unconsciously. So we can use breathing techniques to help intentionally shift our nervous system back towards the rest and digest side versus the fight or flight side, kind of
Yeah.
adjusting back. We're trying to calm ourselves down. But it's interesting because interoception is also like needing to go to the bathroom and eating and any other bodily function. Um, and so often neurodivergent, especially ADHD individuals, it's like, how often have you done something? And it's like, oh, have I eaten today? But breathing is a little bit more life support critical in the shorter term. You
Yep.
can go a little longer without
You can
eating.
go longer
So,
without eating than without breathing.
and the only thing you'll get, the only audible protest from your body you get if you've gone a while without eating is your stomach growling. Whereas breathing, the sigh is your body catching up.
Yep.
It's trying to reoxygenate itself when it
Yeah.
goes, oh, oops, forgot to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's also an interesting, and now I lost it there, but um, it's only as I've learned to really connect more with my body. I've done a ton of work with like trying to regulate my nervous system and,
Mm,
you know, vagus nerve work and some other things that it was like, well, they're supposed to do something. But only in the last maybe year or two have I actually started to feel that they're working as like my body like has learned to feel safe and tolerate feeling safe. And again, it's really low grade because
mhm,
externally I'm not under threat. And I know this, and so it's taken me a long time to recognize that some part of my body actually never really ramped down to feeling safe. And it's like, oh, that's a different feeling.
mm,
And now, more often, breath work can have an impact, but not always.
mhm.
And why I think, too, it's so important to, keep trying different things until you find something that helps your body feel calm or safe or things that work. It's like there is rarely a universal
Yeah.
solution, even breath work or mindfulness, things that are touted as that. I saw another pieces like until your body learns to, they're assuming you already have a certain amount of internal regulation and that's when those things are effective. And
Hmm.
until you can learn to get that internal regulation, things with like breath work may be less effective, so try something else that does help your body shift.
Well, and it's not a one size fits all because like in the past we've talked about like visualizing, and for some people, the way their brain is wired, visualizing just is not going to work. So
No.
Um,
um
so it just kind of depends on the person, the nervous system, the brain. I guess one of the things since the last time we recorded, I did my continuing ed for some of it for my ICF credential. And so I took a course in applied neuroscience and brain health. So I've been having fun applying those new learnings. But
What's your favorite one? And then maybe we can move towards wrapping up because I think we plan to
my
keep this pretty short today.
my favorite thing that I learned,
Yeah, or that you've been applying based on what you've learned in the course.
I'll have to think about that one because I'm like, oh, how have I? It's been interesting to see things through a different perspective. So the biggest thing is the course I took was hosted by Dr. Sarah McKay, who wrote the Women's Brain Book and the Baby Brain Book. And her, I guess I would call it a model, her way of looking at it is outside in, top down, bottom up, but from a brain and nervous system perspective. So um, when you're dysregulated or have a big emotion or something's off, looking at it from outside in is environmental. What what is going on in the environment around you that may be contributing to that, or what can you change that can then kind of shift you into a different mindset?
See,
Um,
that sounds like
bottom
coaching.
Bottom up is biological, so it could be hormonal related, it could be nutrition related, it could be a lot of different things. So, what do you have control over there, or what might be influencing this? And then top down is theory of mind um, and things like that. So, it's just and I probably totally, if she ends up watching this, I hope I didn't totally butcher that. Um,
Well, it's all
but very
practice
much looking
explaining
at
it
it
too.
from top down, bottom up, outside in, um, as to, and that's one of the things that I've started applying is when I'm explaining um, brain health and especially like postpartum mental health things, it's outside in is like your community support and, the environment that you're in and having what you need. Bottom up is all the things that are changing as you're becoming a parent. And then, um, so I talk about mindset, I talk about breathing, and then I talk about like brain health and nutrition and things. So just different strategies that people can try.
Yeah. Well, and what I
My brain
love,
just went,
that's okay. It totally works. And it's like as we're both in different stages with our coaching practices, that this relates directly to how both you and I do our coaching work, the
Mhm.
different aspects that we focus on because we've, in our individual lived and learned experience, these are things that we want to support other people or work with other people on finding ways to shift their world in on these kind of axes. And we have different language about talking about these things,
Mhm.
and that just hit me as before. I don't think either one of us would be having the last 3 minutes of this conversation. How does this look like in a coaching dynamic, or how does this look when you're
Yeah.
speaking to public? And it's interesting how, over time, we evolve and we shift. Even though I
Hmm.
know that a lot of our podcasts are considered evergreen, which we sometimes get around to talking about or sharing on other asynchronous platforms.
Yes, maybe
Um,
we'll share this one.
this, but I think we're leaning towards that. It's like you and I are both evolving in our practice in a lot of ways on parallel tracks. Not exactly the same, but we've both talked about how do we get comfortable with being ourselves and showing up focused enough externally that the world knows we exist,
Yes.
because that's how we relate to others and make a difference to a degree. Is we have to take that step towards creating and being in community.
And remembering to not hold our breath and to breathe while we do that.
I Yeah,
I
but
had to bring it full
that
circle.
I know, when I'm just laughing because, but if it's unconscious, is it actually remembering? You know, it's more like signaling. How do we keep the signal
Yeah.
so the body's stable to keep breathing?
And I feel like from the real, it's more likely when you're dysregulated. So the more regulated you can keep yourself, the better your interoception signals are able to.
Well, and I think it comes back to habits and behavior too. The more regulated, the easier time your brain has accessing the circuits for habits, for automaticity, whether it's, I did a lot of the habit right. I got the coffee on, I got there was a lot of automatic behavior in making espresso. I just missed the key component of getting the espresso grounds holder in the espresso
Yep.
portafilter, the thing
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and because I was regulated, it felt good. There were a couple moments my brain went, there's something off, but I just kind of, you know, but also because I'm regulated, I didn't freak out, but I also kept breathing and go go breathing.
As we wrap this one up, do you ever hold your breath when you're waiting to, like, when you're processing what somebody else is saying and then waiting to respond? I feel like I do that,
Maybe? I don't
but
know.
I think
I'm
I
more
also do
likely
it
to
so
do
I
it
don't
when I'm
speak.
focused on something very physical,
Okay.
or thinking really hard about something I'm doing. I'm now going to have to pay attention to doing this in other aspects of my life. Of course, now, again, my brain is now primed, though, for paying attention to this. So I'll have to
Yes.
send you
Now
an
I'm going to
update.
pay attention to everyone in my household and see how many times they sigh and be like, are you holding your breath?
The fun of potential neurodivergence or but again, there's something calming in having another explanation. And it's not like, no, I'm not necessarily that out of touch with my body, with my emotions that I'm,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's so often perceived as, anger or frustration or something, but is really
It's kind of
more
like
basic than that.
RBF, but for breathing.
It's kind of like what?
RBF, but for breathing.
RBF?
Resting B face,
Ah, ah, ah.
but for breathing. It's just
That's fair.
unintentional passive aggressive breathing that's not intended to be passive aggressive. It's just the way you breathe.
Right.
I'm just breathing here.
Right. And then I'm sure we could keep going before we open another loop. I'm going to say thanks for listening. We'll probably be back with a few more episodes for this round. This is Amy with Creative Catapult Coaching. You can find me at creativecatapultcoach.com. I would love to talk to you about this or even about a potential coaching engagement.
This is Megan with Focus Like a Mother, and you can find me at focuslikeamother.com or Focus Like a Mother on all the fun social platforms. And same thing, feel free to reach out, and I guess we will see everybody whenever the next time is that we record.
All right. Take care. Have a good one.